All right, ladies and gentlemen, and down here at the bottom left-hand corner of Tal'Darim Ultra, we have our red Terran player from the team NSHoSeo. It is Sting. And his opponent down here in the bottom right-hand corner from the team FXO CIS, our purple Protoss player, winner of the first 2 games, it is Elbegast.
Yeah, it's always curious to see PVT on Tal'Darim Ultra. I love it because sometimes Protoss will get greedy and go something like 15 Nexus or 17 Nexus, and then it's always, you know, how does a Terran react to that?
Yeah.
I always love to see it because I love the cat and mouse game, because then they can go, well, I can try to bunker it, or I could double expand against it, and the meta game of, you know, how greedy is each player going to get on a map this big is so intriguing to watch, and the different meta games that evolve from that is really interesting to me.
It's PVT's in a weird state right now because Protoss players pretty strong at the very beginning of the game. It gets a little bit testy in the mid game once you get around that stim, couple of medevacs stage right there where players want to drop. And then as you get into late game, they feel a lot more comfortable. So if Sting can start to put on some pressure early, he may be able to very much hurt Elbegast. So, all right. Well, that was an interesting sign. Apparently, chat is well, we'll just say, having fun with you today.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, it's okay.
We love you guys, by the way, out there in Chatland. We hope you're doing well, and hope you guys have been enjoying Team Arena Challenge 3. By the way, if you have any predictions on who you think is going to win the tournament, we've already seen some players eliminated. Why don't you go ahead and send those in on Twitter? He is at FFMirhi. That's at FFMIRHI. I am at Kevin Naki, and we want to hear who you guys think is going to win the tournament. We'll read out some of your predictions over the air.
Yeah, if I was going to pick a favorite, I would still say Prime, even after yesterday, is probably still the strongest team. But if I was going to pick second, I would say TSL has looked really good lately.
They have been playing really well lately. We've already seen them advance through the group stages into the final 6 at GSTL. Yes. So I know they're playing really well, but man, there are some good teams out there. I've got to say, a lot of my predictions rely upon how good of players these teams send in. For example, MVP has competed in our tournament before. Sometimes they send out some not-so-great players, but if they feel Genius, Dongre, Goo, etc., keen every time, I think they're going to go really far. If they don't, it's a different story.
Yeah, IM has had that same issue in our tournaments as well. Very, very rarely have we seen MVP and Nesty until recently, where they finally started sending them out more. Well,
Elbegast, no real surprise out of him. Looked like he's going to eye up a 1-gate expand. May throw us for a loop here in a bit, but nothing too out of the ordinary.
Sting did something a little weird, though. 2 racks with Reactor, so a little bit more aggressive, and no CC started yet. So that could be really nasty if Elbegast goes for the standard like 30-ish supply Nexus.
And Elbegast as well, he's not getting in and trying to scout quite yet. He knows where his opponent is. He scouted the wrong positions first, but he's not really gotten a read on what his opponent is doing.
This is going to be really important. If he sees those 3 Marines, he is going to know exactly what this is.
Oh, well, back at home, how many pros is he on? He's on 22. He doesn't have a ton of chrono boost left, but still, he's going to 4-gate. So if you want to stop a 2-racks, you go ahead and 4-gate, apparently.
Sting is dead unless he scouts this, because there is no way he is going to think that this is a 4-gate. This does not look like a 4-gate at all. The Zealot out there is standard. It looks like he is going to scout this, and he's going to have to make bunkers immediately or he is dead in the water.
All right. Well, will Elbegast be able to get himself a quick 3rd win here? A couple of units running out to greet these forward forces.
All right, so Sting did just scout it. So now, if you don't see a bunker immediately in the next few seconds, this game is going to be done.
All right. Well, let's see here. Is he pulling anything off of the line yet? No, not quite. Is he building any bunkers back at home? No, not that either.
Oh,
in fact, he's even just hiding his Marauders. It looks like he wanted to wait on those for a while, so nothing seemed too out of the ordinary. He's actually researching combat shields first, but it's still going to be 100 seconds
finally
away.
He's building a bunker. This is going to be so late, though. He has 5 Stalkers against 6 Marines and a Marauder.
All right, well, here we go. The Marauder could die pretty quickly here. It does go down, but a couple of Stalkers are going to fall as well. Elbegast is going to still need pretty good control. There we go, running back with those Stalkers and cutting down the Marines to size. This is going to be so difficult for Sting to hold.
At this point, he could just run around the bunker. He doesn't need to deal with it. He should go in and at least look what it is, but oh man, he's in so much trouble now. He's going to lose so many SCVs.
And NSHoSeo Sting pulling a lot of SCVs off of the line. The Zealots making their way through now. These Marines do get extra range because of the bunker, but still a lot of workers are going to die. A couple of the Stalkers were actually being targeted first rather than the Zealots, which was kind of a cool decision. I like that. Prevent some of that range damage from happening, and Sting really needs to get something going now.
I do not agree with that factory at all. I don't think that's going to help him. He needs barracks. He needs more bunkers, because even with mass repair in that bunker, it can still go down to 6 Zealots and 2 Stalkers. That's a lot of damage.
All right, well, there is a sentry in there as well. Kind of cool decision to expend a lot of his gas to do that. It's going to affect his range damage in the Stalkers, but one well-placed force field will really help in destroying this bunker.
I think he's actually going to save up for Guardian Shield and just let the Zealots well away, because he has 75 energy now. We'll see if he force fields or Guardian Shields.
All right, well, we'll find out here. Looks like he's just waiting, and he does decide to force field, which is, I agree with you, that was kind of an interesting decision, but he goes through the bunker right away now. The SCVs are pulled off of the line. Most of the Zealots have died now, and it's just a handful of Stalkers remaining.
Look at how many SCVs he's lost at this point. It's so many, and if lurker count overall, you know, tearing down to 19.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing going for Sting is that Elbegast decided that this was going to be super all-in. He's not produced a single worker after this, meaning that Sting actually has a fairly decent economy. Man, he's going for that starport as well. This is so risky, but it looks like he may even be able to start forcing these units away.
All right, so now Elbegast has a clock. He has to kill Sting before Stim finishes or before 2 medevacs pop out, because if he does not, then he will be dead in the water, because you cannot just 4-gate against a medevac Stim Terran army.
Well, it's down to 14 workers now, so a few less units being produced. Sting pulling a couple more units off the line. That worker count is continuing to decrease. 12, 11, continuing to fall. But the Marauders are very strong. Good positioning as well, as the Hurt Marauder was all the way at the back. One more Stalker does go down. More units being warped in now for Elbegast, though.
Down to 8 units. You know, if I was Elbegast, I would just build a Nexus at this point. He might be able to win still, but at this point, you don't need to, and your army's going to get less and less strong the more this goes on, because you cannot fight against the medevacs. He could build a Nexus right now and be so far ahead, but it looks like he's still not building probes, so he just really wants to stick with his 4-gate.
All right, 4 more Stalkers coming up now. Stim is about
he's going to be
10
in such
seconds
trouble
away.
when the Stim finishes. He's not going to be able to run, and his whole army is going to die.
And there's a medevac as well, so the Marauders are starting to be healed up. One of the Stalkers runs around, doesn't see anything. We'll see how he reacts to that. The medevac energy is going to be down pretty soon, but this is a very strong army now.
All right, so he is building more Zealots. That is a scary-looking Protoss army. This is going to depend a lot on micro. There are no force fields.
There's the Stim, so he kites back and picks off, looks like 1, then 2 Zealots before any real damage is done quite yet. The Zealot number is actually going down pretty quickly, individually stimming the U units that are coming out. Sting, that was really good control, and he does start to push this force back, and now the Stalkers are going to go down.
Yeah, now there's not a lot Elbegast can do. He has no force field, he has no Guardian Shield. He needs to focus the medevac, quite honestly, in order to prevent these Marines from getting re-healed, because if he can just pick off like this and make him waste Stims, then he's in good shape.
That's right, but now there is another medevac up, but unfortunately it was targeting a couple of SCVs, so not a ton of energy to go around, but we are just down to 4 Stalkers now, so a big back-and-forth battle here. This has basically just been a 6-minute long battle, if we're honest.
Yeah. Elbegast now, he probably should have ran away there, but he might be okay if he goes immediately with his Stalkers. He has to do more damage now or he's going to be dead.
That's right, and it looks like another Stim out front breaking. Oh, good job to pick up a lot of the forces. He does drop them back down, exposing them a little bit. Oh, but picking up those Marauders over and over again. Finally does lose a couple, but he is going to be able to pick off every one of the Stalkers. No, it looks like 1 now getting away. This is just insane.
That was great micro, but if the next warp into Stalkers comes and he doesn't have enough Marauders, then he'll still be in a lot of trouble. He needs the Marauders against pure Stalkers.
All right, well, 1 Marauder making its way out right now. The Marines stimming up one more time. A Stalker does get picked off, but here comes a Zealot now. Just 3 Marines remaining. There we go. Finally, a Marauder's in play. Stims up with a couple more Marines as well. The Zealot going to go down at the front, trying to close off the choke point with the factory as well.
I like that move a lot because it'll funnel them into a bottleneck where you can kite behind the factory pretty much infinitely. That's a very, very smart move. It'll also mess with his micro when he tries to A move. The Stalkers might attack the factory instead of the units.
That's right. So, but now a second Marauder joins, and that was almost like a little death bell there as the second Marauder comes out. One of the Zealots goes down very quickly. A few of the workers have been destroyed, though. In fact, he's down to just 9 workers remaining. So still, we're in a very tenuous situation where the army is bigger for Sting.
Oh, Sting might overextend here. He's got to be really careful not to lose the bulk of that army.
All right. Well, he loses a couple of Marauders up at the front, and I'm sorry, a couple of Marines, and his Marauders aren't almost dead now. So
bad move by Elbegast.
he runs through that tiny little choke point. One of his Zealots does go down, but the Stalkers are once again going to have to run away. Now there's 2 medevacs up for Sting, and he's starting to force this army back.
Now it's almost too late for him to expand because he'll get dropped all day if he backs off with his army. He needs to expand behind this, though. He needs to feign pressure and get out. He can't beat this anymore.
All right. Yeah, the numbers are just continuing to increase for Sting. He is back up to 13 workers, and with a mule, does have pretty respectable mining as well.
Yeah, at this point, you know, the 2 medevacs, they don't have a lot of energy, but they have enough. He's not going to be able to target fire the Marauders down enough, which means the Stalkers are going to go die incredibly fast. I would actually expect GG pretty soon here.
Oh, and Elbegast losing the last couple of units, and Sting just darting back, picking off the rest of the Zealots. He has successfully, finally, eliminated the attack force. What is Elbegast doing back at home? Not a lot. In fact, he's almost mined out of his main.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
GG!
Yeah.
So FXO does go down finally, losing their first game of the set. Sting trying to bring things back for NSHoSeo.